Gentlemen, listen closely. There comes a time in every man's life when he must draw the line. Not out of ego. Not out of arrogance. But out of self-respect. And today, we're going to talk about something most men avoid out of fear of judgment, the behaviors you must never tolerate from a woman, no matter how beautiful, no matter how sweet she seems when she wants something from you. Because here's the truth, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you reinforce, and what you walk away from. A man without standards is a man walking blind into emotional war zones. So let's strip away the illusions, cut through the noise, and talk about the 8 unacceptable behaviors no man should ever tolerate, because the moment you do, is the moment you begin to lose yourself. 1. Disrespect, in public or private. If she mocks you, belittles you, or shames you in front of others, or even worse, to your face behind closed doors, it's not just a red flag. It's a blazing sign she doesn't value who you are. Respect is the minimum requirement in any relationship. You are not her emotional punching bag. 2. Constant testing in games. A woman who constantly plays emotional games, giving you the silent treatment, making you jealous on purpose, testing your reactions, is not trying to grow with you. She's trying to control you. That's not love. That's manipulation in disguise. Real women build men. Little girls play games. 3. Entitlement without effort. She wants the world, your time, energy, money, presents, but gives you the bare minimum. She expects the royal treatment while offering no gratitude, no partnership, and no effort. If she believes she deserves everything just because she exists, let her go find a fantasy. You're not her provider, you're a man, not an ATM. 4. Flirting with other men. If she disrespects the relationship by entertaining other men's attention, especially right in front of you, she's making a loud statement. You're not enough for me. That's emotional betrayal. You deserve loyalty, not low-level attention-seeking behavior from someone who claims to be yours. 5. Weaponizing sex or affection. When affection becomes a tool she uses to control you, only giving love when she gets what she wants, you're not in a relationship. You're in a negotiation. And brother, real love is not transactional. You deserve affection that flows from genuine care, not coercion. 6. Lack of accountability. If she never says I'm sorry, if she blames everyone else for her toxic patterns, if she refuses to grow, then she's not emotionally mature enough for a real relationship. You'll spend your life fixing problems she creates and never admits to. 7. Jealousy of your growth. If she resents your ambition, tries to sabotage your goals, or makes you feel guilty for improving yourself, understand this, she's not afraid of losing you, she's afraid of being left behind. A strong woman supports your evolution. A weak one fears it. 8. Disloyalty, emotional or physical. This is the ultimate deal-breaker. If she cheats, hides things, or emotionally invests in other men, walk away. No explanations needed. Cheating is not a mistake, it's a choice. One that speaks volumes about how little she respects you. Conclusion. Gentlemen, you are the gatekeepers of your peace, your energy, your purpose. If you allow toxic behavior, you're telling the world, and yourself, that you don't believe you deserve better. But you do. Set your standards. Guard your heart. Lead with strength. And most importantly, never, ever apologize for expecting respect. You are not hard to love, you're just refusing to be manipulated. And that, my friend, is what separates the boys from the men. Respect is non-negotiable in any relationship, and for a man who values himself, it must be the foundation upon which all interactions are built. The moment a woman disrespects you, whether subtly or overtly, is the moment you must pause and reevaluate everything. Disrespect isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes, it's the sarcastic remark she thinks is just a joke, the way she rolls her eyes when you speak, or how she interrupts you and talks over you like your opinion holds no weight. It's the way she criticizes you in front of others, dismisses your goals, or compares you to other men. These actions, though they might seem small individually, compound over time. And what they really say is, I don't value you. I don't see you as a man worthy of honor. Many men stay silent when this happens. They shrug it off, thinking it's not a big deal, that she's just having a bad day. But here's the dangerous truth, what you tolerate becomes the standard. The longer you let it slide, the more normalized it becomes. Soon, she's not just talking over you, she's talking down to you. Soon, she's not just joking about your ambition, she's undermining your confidence. And the more you absorb that, the more you begin to doubt your own worth. Respect is the one thing a woman must offer you before she gives you her body, her love, or even her time. Without respect, nothing else matters. You could have the intimacy, the shared laughter, the good moments, but if beneath all that she doesn't truly respect who you are as a man, you will always feel something is missing. And that something is your soul slowly dying under the weight of constant belittlement and invisible emotional wounds. When a woman respects you, she listens. She considers your perspective. She supports your dreams and challenges you to grow, but never in a way that diminishes you. She stands beside you, not in front of you to block, or behind you to follow blindly, but beside you, shoulder to shoulder, as a partner who sees your value and honors it. But if that's not what you're getting, you're not in a relationship, you're in a power struggle. And here's the most painful part, a woman will only respect a man who respects himself. If you keep allowing her to treat you like you're beneath her, she won't feel guilty. She'll feel justified. She'll think, if he doesn't stand up for himself, why should I treat him like a man who deserves anything more? That's the brutal truth. Your silence becomes her permission. So understand this deeply, the respect you demand is a reflection of the identity you carry. If you value your peace, your mission, your masculinity, then let your boundaries be clear. Don't raise your voice. Don't beg. Simply walk. Respect is not something you chase. It's something you command, by the way you carry yourself, by the standards you hold, and by the things you refuse to allow. Games and tests in relationships are not signs of love, they are acts of manipulation. When a woman intentionally creates confusion, withholds affection, or pushes your buttons to see how you react, what she's really doing is testing your boundaries to determine how much control she can gain. Some men mistake this behavior for passion or challenge, believing that if a woman plays hard to get or keeps them guessing, it must mean she's worth pursuing. But here's the truth. Healthy love doesn't need to be chased through a maze of emotional puzzles. Real connection doesn't demand that you pass tests like a contestant on a game show. It requires authenticity, respect, and mutual emotional security. When a woman gives you the silent treatment just to punish you, or flirts with other men to provoke jealousy, she's not trying to build a relationship, she's trying to manipulate your emotions. She wants to feel power. She wants to see how far she can push you before you break. She might cancel plans last minute to see if you'll still chase her. She might make vague remarks about other men to stir your insecurity. And each time you respond by getting emotional, pleading for her attention, or working harder to win her approval, you reinforce her belief that she's in control. This isn't love. It's a strategy, a way to maintain dominance by keeping you off balance. And it often stems from insecurity on her part. People who play games usually don't feel secure enough to be straightforward. Instead, they test your loyalty, your patience, and your masculinity, not because they want to grow with you, but because they want to see if they can control you. The irony is that the more you try to prove your worth to someone playing games, the less she respects you. Why? Because deep down, she knows you're choosing confusion over clarity, chaos over peace, and control over connection. A man who respects himself will never tolerate emotional games. He doesn't engage in toxic back and forth. He doesn't waste time trying to decipher hidden meanings or chase a woman who deliberately pulls away to feel desired. He sees through the manipulation and walks away, not out of fear or weakness, but because he knows that love doesn't require proving. It requires presence. It requires transparency. And most of all, it requires emotional maturity. If a woman needs to test your loyalty by making you jealous, she's not loyal herself. If she needs to push you to your limits to see how much you care, she's not safe to love. Because love isn't supposed to hurt, confuse, or exhaust you. It's supposed to ground you. But you will never experience that kind of love if you keep entertaining emotional games. You weren't made to be someone's puppet, you were made to be a man of principle. And the moment you stop entertaining her games, you start reclaiming your power. Mutual effort is the backbone of any healthy, lasting relationship. Without it, love becomes lopsided, one-sided, and ultimately unsustainable. A man who constantly pours into a woman, emotionally, mentally, financially, and physically, while receiving little to nothing in return is not in a partnership, he's in a performance. And what's worse, the longer he continues to give without reciprocation, the more invisible he becomes in the eyes of the woman he's trying to impress. Because people don't value what they get for free. They value what they have to invest in. When a woman truly cares, she contributes. She doesn't just show up for the good times or the gifts. She shows up when it's inconvenient. She listens when you speak. She supports your goals. She checks in on your emotional state. She nurtures the bond. That's what mutual effort looks like. It's not about keeping score or trading favors, it's about shared responsibility for the health of the relationship. But when a man is the only one putting in the work, initiating communication, planning time together, fixing problems, making sacrifices, he's not building love. He's building resentment. A relationship cannot thrive on one person's energy. You cannot be the emotional engine, financial provider, decision maker, and peacemaker while she sits back and benefits. That's not love, that's emotional labor imbalance. And what makes it more dangerous is when men are conditioned to believe that being a real man means doing everything alone, never asking for support, never expecting emotional contribution, never receiving care. That's not masculinity. That's martyrdom. Love must be a team sport. You carry each other when one is weak. You share the burdens. You celebrate the wins together. But if she's only around when it's easy, only loving when she wants something, only showing affection when you meet her demands, she's not a partner, she's a taker. And the more you allow it, the more she expects it, until she stops seeing your effort as a gift and starts treating it like a given. Women who are serious about you will make effort obvious. They'll text first. They'll plan dates. They'll ask about your day. They'll support your grind. They won't make you feel like you're begging for love. Because love, in its purest form, isn't passive. It's active. It shows up in words, actions, and consistency. You deserve someone who mirrors your energy. Someone who invests like you do. Not because she has to, but because she wants to. Because she sees you as worthy of the same care and commitment you give to her. That's what mutual effort is. It's a declaration, you're not in this alone. And any relationship without it, no matter how good it looks on the outside, is empty at its core. You can't carry both people forever. Eventually, it breaks you. So stop settling for relationships where you do all the lifting while she does all the leaning. You weren't made to carry dead weight. You were made to build a life, with someone who builds back. Loyalty is sacred. It is the invisible thread that holds a relationship together through the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Without loyalty, there is no foundation, no real security, no trust, no true love. It goes beyond just physical fidelity. Loyalty is emotional integrity. It means that even when you're not around, she protects your name, your heart, and your bond. She doesn't entertain attention from other men just to feel desired. She doesn't compare you to someone else or keep you in competition with a ghost from her past. Loyalty means she chooses you, over and over, because she respects the connection you've built. Too often, loyalty is treated as optional, as if it's just another trait on a long list of romantic preferences. But for a man who values peace, purpose, and protection of his heart, loyalty isn't optional, it's essential. A disloyal partner chips away at your soul, bit by bit. She creates doubt where there should be confidence. She makes you question what's real. She forces you into a state of emotional defense, constantly watching, wondering, and worrying. That's not love. That's warfare. A loyal woman doesn't seek validation from every man she meets. She doesn't keep guy friends with hidden intentions. She doesn't post thirst traps for attention or use social media to cultivate backup options. Loyalty is in her decisions when you're not looking. It's in how she speaks about you to others. It's in how she responds when temptation shows up. A loyal woman values the relationship enough to guard it, not exploit it for momentary attention. When loyalty is present, a man can breathe. He can focus on his mission. He can lead his life without the constant weight of suspicion. He knows that the woman beside him is not just there for the benefits, but for the bond. She's not just around for comfort or convenience, but because she truly honors him. That kind of loyalty gives a man the strength to climb higher, to take risks, to give fully, because he knows someone is in his corner no matter what. And when it's absent, everything else falls apart. It doesn't matter how attractive she is. It doesn't matter how fun, how flirty, how sweet she acts in the moment. If she can't be loyal, if she can't be trusted, she can't be loved fully. Because love demands safety. And safety can't exist where betrayal is just one weak moment away. A disloyal woman will drain you. She'll smile in your face while planning her escape. She'll take your commitment and treat it like a cage, not a gift. And if you stay with her, you'll slowly start to lose your sense of self. But a loyal woman, she becomes your peace. She becomes your clarity. She becomes the one place in a chaotic world where you feel unshakably grounded. That is sacred. That is rare. And that is why loyalty should never be compromised, for any reason, ever. Don't let love be transactional, because the moment it becomes a trade, it stops being love and turns into a negotiation. In a transactional relationship, every gesture, every word, every act of kindness comes with strings attached. It's not about giving freely, it's about keeping score. I did this for you, so now you owe me. That mindset poisons the purity of connection. Love that's constantly measured in what you provide, how much you earn, or how well you meet a checklist of demands is not love, it's a business deal. And no man should willingly sign up to be in a contract where his value is determined by what he can give rather than who he is. A transactional dynamic breeds resentment. It becomes exhausting trying to meet ever-growing expectations just to maintain basic affection. When a woman only shows you love when you're useful, helpful, or beneficial, that's not a partner, that's a customer. And you're not a product. You're a human being with needs, flaws, ambitions, and emotions. You deserve to be seen, valued, and loved not just for what you do, but for who you are at your core. When love is genuine, it isn't earned like a paycheck. It's given with grace, received with gratitude, and nurtured with mutual care. Many men fall into this trap without realizing it. They overextend themselves, thinking that if they just provide enough, more money, more time, more emotional labor, they'll finally be worthy. But the truth is, love based on what you can do will disappear the moment you can't do it anymore. The moment you fall short, the affection fades. The interest dies. And you're left wondering if you were ever loved at all, or just tolerated as long as you were performing. This is why it's critical to recognize the difference between conditional love and true connection. Real love doesn't say, "Prove yourself to me constantly." It says, "I see your value, and I'm here to grow with you." It's not blind, and it's not naive, it still holds standards, but it's not transactional. It doesn't treat vulnerability as weakness or expect perfection. It values presence over possessions and character over currency. A woman who truly loves you will care for you when you're winning, but also when you're wounded. She won't demand a receipt for every act of love. She won't weaponize your shortcomings or turn affection into a bargaining chip. You're not supposed to feel like you have to buy love with your efforts. When it's real, both people contribute naturally, willingly, without a mental calculator running in the background. They uplift each other not because they have to, but because they want to. And that's what separates love from a transaction. If a woman constantly makes you feel like you're only as valuable as what you provide, it's time to step back and ask yourself a hard question. is this love, or is this a deal disguised as something deeper? Because a deal can be broken, but real love holds through everything. You define your value. Not her, not society, not your bank account, and definitely not your relationship status. As a man, you are constantly bombarded with external voices trying to tell you what makes you worthy, how much money you make, how ripped your body is, how many women want you, or how much power you hold. But the truth is, none of that matters if you don't know who you are when everything else is stripped away. Real value starts internally. It's the foundation you stand on when no one's clapping, when no one's validating you, and when the world seems indifferent. That's the kind of value that can't be taken, it can only be built. When you let a woman decide your worth, you become a puppet to her approval. You'll change your opinions to fit hers. You'll shrink your needs to keep her happy. You'll tolerate disrespect because deep down, you've convinced yourself that if you lose her, you lose your value. That's a dangerous mindset. Because the moment you outsource your worth to another person, you give them the power to destroy you. And that's not love. That's emotional slavery. A high-value man doesn't seek validation, he embodies it. He doesn't beg to be chosen, he chooses himself first. That doesn't mean arrogance or apathy. It means self-respect. It means refusing to bend over backwards for temporary attention. It means walking away from any situation that demands you diminish who you are just to be accepted. Because the truth is, if you have to perform to be loved, you're not being loved, you're being used. Women are drawn to men who carry themselves with internal authority. Men who know what they stand for. Men who don't flinch when challenged, don't chase when disrespected, and don't fold just to be liked. That kind of confidence is magnetic because it's rare. Most men are searching for someone to tell them they matter, instead of doing the hard work of proving it to themselves. But when you define your value, you no longer move through life trying to convince others you're enough. You already know you are. You don't need applause. You don't need to win her over with tricks or money. You simply show up as you, and let the right people respond. There's immense peace in being rooted in your own worth. You stop overthinking, overgiving, overcompensating. You no longer accept half-love, emotional games, or surface-level attention. You don't panic when someone walks away. Why? Because your identity isn't tied to them, it's anchored in something deeper. And that's when you become untouchable. So define yourself. Not by what you lack, but by what you've overcome. Not by who accepts you, but by what you've built within. Because the man who knows his value becomes a standard, not a seeker. And once you become the standard, everything in your life begins to align with that truth. At the end of the day, the kind of love you accept is a reflection of the love you believe you deserve. And too many good men have been taught to suffer in silence, to tolerate disrespect in the name of being strong, to bend over backwards for a woman who wouldn't even lean forward. But enough is enough. You weren't born to be a placeholder, a provider with no peace, or a punching bag for someone's emotional immaturity. Start demanding more, not just from her, but from yourself. Because when you respect yourself deeply, you stop entertaining what doesn't match your standards. You stop chasing what drains you. You stop making excuses for toxic behavior disguised as passion. And you start walking like a man who knows his worth. So let this be your line in the sand. If she plays games, disrespects your time, tests your limits, or treats your love like a transaction, you don't tolerate it. You don't argue. You don't beg. You walk. Because silence isn't strength. Standards are. The man who refuses to tolerate the unacceptable becomes the man who attracts what's exceptional.